What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of the PlayStation Drive. This is our 71st adventure. My name's Matt, and I'll be your driver for this day's events. I'm joined, not by Court this week, because he is off in Florida. I'm joined by the incredible Andy from Streamcast. What's good, my dude?
I am all good. It's always a great time recording with you, Matt. Thank you so much. I hope to fill the massive shoes that Court has left behind.
I don't doubt that for a second you will, my friend. But before we get any deeper into it, because we got to clean the garage, we gotta do a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about the work that you're doing with Streamcast, because I think it's hella dope and hella important.
Thank you very much. Streamcast is a team of Black British gamers. We're based in the UK and we create content all around gaming. That includes live streams, that includes podcasts, blog posts, weird YouTube videos, all sorts of stuff. We even held a couple live quizzes during the whole lockdown pandemic era of our lives, and we make even more stuff. So come chill with the Streamcast. We are really dope people.
100%. I just remember that, Midas connected us what was actually years ago now, and I feel like we became fast friends. We've rocked together many a time, and I'm happy to get you over here on Carpool Gaming on the PlayStation Drive because, again, the knowledge that you possess, my dude, the personality, it's a total package. What can I say? I know Court is going to be jealous, but before we get into anything else, we got to clean this dusty old garage of ours because if you're watching us live on youtube.com/carpoolgaming right now, make sure you like the stream, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, make sure you comment. Let us know your thoughts and feelings about the show, what you want to see from us, and how to do things even better. If you're listening to us on your podcast service of choice, make sure you like, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, hit us with those 5 stars, leave us a review, and we will read them on the show at some point when Court and I remember. And if you have a couple bucks to toss to tip your drivers, head over to patreon.com/carpoolgaming and toss those bucks in the good old tip jar. Out comes a cornucopia of content for you to enjoy, to listen, to ingest. Yeah, a whole cornucopia. It's Thanksgiving here in Canada this weekend. What's a better way to thank us thanking you by thanking each other with a cornucopia of content? And just so everyone is aware, for the next 2 weeks, we are going to have some pre-recorded shows going live because I will be away in Korea. Court is away in Florida. So get strapped in. We talked about some of our favorite PlayStation games and more. So get ready for that the next couple weeks. And then we'll be back live once again towards the end of October with more fun-filled stuff right around Court's birthday. So get hyped for that. But my dude, we have to talk about what we've been playing because I feel like music over in the UK is a bit different, right? You have your records, you slap them on your upside down record players, right? Things start spinning, right? There's things that happen, and you got your tea and your crumpets while you listen to the playlist. Andy, what have you been playing?
All right, so if you check out our Twitch channel, which is Streamcast TV, you will find out everything I've been playing recently, and I have been obsessed with God of War 2018 once again because
Nice.
I am on the road to Ragnarok and I'm trying to get myself all hype and excited again. So I've been banging that out. I've been playing on the hardest difficulty this time, so it's been a lot harder, but I'm still enjoying the game all the same.
So are you going to do the whole Valkyrie thing even on the highest difficulty? Did you do that before? Because I found one and I was like, no, I'm good. Not doing this. Not wasting my time here. Have you beaten them? Are you going to beat them again? And why?
So luckily I've already beaten the Valkyrie, so I don't have to do that again. I have no interest in beating them again. I've done it once, got the t-shirt, got the platinum trophy. I don't need to do it again. And I'm definitely not going to do it on that hardest difficulty. I'm looking onwards to Ragnarok, and I've done a little bit of research. I've heard it's going to be many, many hours long, so maybe even 100 hours to 100% it. So yeah, I don't need to do the Valkyrie thing.
Well, good luck to you doing that in Ragnarok, because I'm sure it's not going to get any easier. Okay, so you've been playing God of War. Anything else on the docket? Anything else keeping you busy?
So I've been playing Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy as well,
Yes.
which has been such a surprise, considering Marvel's Avengers, and I was not impressed with that at all. So Guardians was really good. It was a present from one of my friends, and I've just really enjoyed the game. I'm looking forward to the sequel if they ever make one.
I hope so, dude. So badly, I want them to make a sequel. So badly.
So good.
right?
So good. No
So
right
good.
to be.
I know. I know. And like we saw it and we're like, all right, people like this looks okay. And then like the emotional depth and the storytelling and everything that they do is just such a wonderful mix of everything. Like that game has so much more emotional maturity than I ever expected out of it.
It had no right to be that emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to spoil anything,
Nope.
but if you are a fan of any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, please check it out. It's
100%.
totally different, a unique experience. It's worth your time.
100%. Totally agreed. As for myself, I have been continuing on in Trails from Zero, finally almost at the last boss. The last like week has just been haven't had much time for gaming, just between packing and work and life and, you know, prepping content for while I'm away. But I did keep I made a promise to Court. We had an agreement a little while ago that if he tried Yakuza 0, I would try Assassin's Creed Origins. He tried Yakuza 0, was not a fan. Don't know why, but as for me, I kept my promise and I hopped in to Assassin's Creed Origins for a couple hours over the last couple days. It's all right. It's all right. I don't know if I'm going to follow it all the way down the line. I like the environment so far. There's some weird graphical issues that I've had, a lot of clipping, a lot of just like random slowdowns and frame rates and stuff, and I'm playing on the PS5. But like, you know, I like the main character so far. I don't know. There was a point where like early on, one of the first side quests that I did was like I had to go and save some farmers from some bandits, and I went and the farmer had died, and it was like, okay, now bring his body over to his place so that he can be buried. You better believe I was chucking this guy off of every wall possible just to get around enemies. I'm like, he's already dead. So I was literally just tossing him off walls, picking him up when I made my way down. And that's how I got there. And it's like that brand of like ridiculousness that I think is baked into Assassin's Creed that like, I think it's fun. It's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to give it some more time because I made my promise. It's grabbed me enough now that I'm not just going to stop playing right away, but it hasn't grabbed me enough that I'm going to commit to the full experience. So we'll see. Are you an Assassin's Creed dude, Andy? Have you played Origins?
I've not touched a single Assassin's Creed game. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
So yeah, no.
Okay.
The games haven't gripped me in any way to even get me playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they've got legions of fans, but it's just not been one of those games for me. I've been much more a Prince of Persia guy, especially the 2008 title.
Nice.
So yeah, if they remake a Prince of Persia game and actually put the effort into it, then yeah, I'll give that a go. But unless they come up with some massive 10 out of 10 Assassin's Creed game that wins Game of the Year, I don't know if I'm going to make the plunge just yet.
And that's fair, and that's fine, because I feel like games have changed a lot. I think the most curious I've been about Assassin's Creed is about that upcoming one next year that I'm blanking. Mirage, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that one has me the most curious in a while, just because of the way that they're talking about it being like a smaller, tighter experience. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be, because I think that's one of the main issues I had with Odyssey and then also with Valhalla is it was just too big. There was too much. There was too many things to do, too many ways to like get lost on the map. But I'm excited about the prospect of like a smaller Assassin's Creed again, because I did really enjoy like the 2 trilogy, if you want to call it that. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I'm excited. I'm taking my Steam Deck with me on the road. Gonna replay some Yakuza 0. Gonna finish Trails from Zero. Have a whole bunch of zeroed games to play. But dude, we need to slam the brakes on this conversation because we have a whole bunch of breaking news to get through. And let's start with a little bit of a confusing one. I'm not gonna be pulling from any specific source from this for the first part of the story, but PlayStation Stars has now launched in North America, in Asia, and South America. So you don't have it just yet, Andy, but I feel like we need to talk about it because since it's launched, you know, I've downloaded it. Okay, I've been messing with it. So far, incredibly underwhelmed. Like incredibly. I don't know how this wasn't like an NFT thing, because like even looking at your display case, and I'll hold it up here for a second. This quite literally looks awful. Like this does not look good. I don't know. Are you curious about Stars at all? Where are you at on this, on the hype train? Have you looked into it? What do you think?
So all I know about PlayStation Stars is what they announced in the September 13th showcase, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was confused then, and I'm even more confused now. I don't understand what it is. So I'm not excited about it at all. I don't get it. There's nothing to be excited about. It's been the most confusing announcement for me.
So like I just can't fathom how this wasn't an NFT thing at first that they've now pivoted into like a service. So just to kind of give you an outlook of what things look like right now, you sign up for it. There are different levels that you'll work your way through. You get there's coins that you can get to kind of like use to purchase stuff, to purchase more digital collectibles, to even purchase games and so on and so forth. The ones that we have so far, you get a a digital collectible for just playing any game. That's one of the missions right now. You get 50 points for buying either NBA 2K23, Saints Row 5, TMNT Collection, The Last of Us Part 1, Inscription, or Madden NFL 23. I own The Last of Us Part 1. It doesn't seem to retroactively recognize that, so keep that in mind. The next one is you have to, and as the PlayStation Up just crashed on me, so I'm going to hop into another one that you get a digital collectible. They give you, I like the idea of this mission, okay? They've given you a list of songs, and you have to launch the game that song appears in order, okay?
Oh, okay.
A cool idea in theory. Here's where we get the issue. These are massive games. You have to download all of them if you want to do this. And for people who have internet caps or who don't have great internet, I can't imagine they're going to be re-downloading all of this to get a digital collectible. I tested today all of the games that are, I won't spoil like the games that you need to launch, but all of them are on PlayStation Plus Extra. So a couple hours ago, I launched them all through streaming. Okay, because all it says is that you have to launch the game. It doesn't say you have to play it for any certain amount of time. I launched them through streaming. So far, haven't gotten it.
Okay.
But evidently, some people are saying it takes almost a couple hours for it to recognize that you did the thing. So I don't know if this is, I have to download it and then it'll recognize it or not. And then there's another one that you have to play one of the following fighting games, whether it's Street Fighter V, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Mortal Kombat 11, and Tekken 7. And all you get are points or these digital collectibles. Now, Andy, I'm going to pull in a story from Tweaktown, and I'm curious as what you're going to say. This is written by Derek Strickland. So at first glance, the PlayStation Stars program doesn't look great. The landing page shows players will get 50 points for completing a campaign to buy some specific games, some of which are $19.99, some of which are $69.99. Gamers have worked out the ratio now, though. Okay? Ooh. Sony will reward 10 PlayStation Star points for every dollar spent. Okay? If you buy NBA 2K23 for $74 after tax, and I'm guessing they're going off of American pricing here, you'll earn 740 points plus the 50 bonus points that you get for completing that mission. Okay? To redeem a free game, the cheapest ones that are currently available for you to redeem, because you can't use it on any game, there's a specific list of games that'll let you do this. It would be Cult of the Lamb and Hades at 6,250 points. Both of these games retail for $24.99. If you want to buy a full price game, you need to spend $1,750 to get enough points to buy a game. What do you think, Andy?
I think my face says it all, but I think this is nothing more than a scam at this point. This is wild. There has to be some sort of equivalency between buying and selling, for it to be any type of fair, considering what other gaming giants are offering with, Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Stars needs to be this well thought out, considered
service. Yeah.
Yes, and it's clearly not from any type of direction. I would like to know which individuals from that company worked on this, because it looks awful. As you're describing it to me, it doesn't make any sense. There's no cohesiveness in this service. So it does pretty much feel like some sort of loyalty scheme where you get to have all of these points that are worth nothing, and you have to get 100 times worth what the actual game is to actually get the game. And the games that you said, Hades and Cult of the Lamb, those are great indie games, but you're not going to get any casual or anyone who's interested in other big titles into those games, especially when you've got NBA being one of the connectors, one of the missions to getting you 50 points. It's just wild. It's all over the place.
It's just such a broken, weird service because, like, again, I was trying to hold out hope, and like even Nintendo, like the coins that you get when you buy on the Nintendo eShop or when you redeem points from buying a physical game, it translates pretty decently. Like, I've gotten significant discounts on the Nintendo eShop, and again, Nintendo is not known for being very forward thinking when it comes to stuff like this, but like PlayStation Stars comes to get the quarry, you need to spend 17,500 points. 17,500 points. To complete a mission for buying one of those games listed, you get 50 points.
Where's the sense?
What? I don't get it. I don't understand how they messed up this badly, introducing a loyalty service that, like, again, wasn't really asked for. It's cool that they're doing it, but like, how do you mess up the ratios this bad? This is like EA free-to-play gaming bad in terms of like loot boxes and stuff. Sure, it's a free service. It's optional for you to join. I understand all that, but like, it just seems like such an unforced error on PlayStation's behalf.
I don't know whether it's unforced or forced, but it's definitely bad. People did not think before launching this service. And I think this is what happens when you come up with something and you don't get consumers this before you launch it out. I don't know who they asked for opinions on this thing, but it's terrible. I mean, basic numbers, like spending, you know how much NBA costs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're only getting 50 points when you're saying these games should cost that much. It's already put me off. It's already putting me at a massive disadvantage. I wasn't interested at the start, and I'm not interested now. I don't care about PlayStation Stars. I haven't heard anything positive about this service, to be honest with you. And it just feels like an unnecessary L, because they came up with the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium, I believe.
Yep.
And those were met with, they weren't the worst idea, but they definitely weren't the best idea they could have come up with. So to then follow that up with this really underwhelming, lame idea is just really shocking and almost insulting.
It's disappointing. It really, really is, because like, again, this could have been such an easy win, and I feel like they put time and investment into whatever NFT program they may have been working on, realized the public backlash with NFTs, and then tried to pivot to something that ultimately just feels half-baked and like an underthought. I hope they listen, and I hope they make significant changes to this, because again, a loyalty program in and of itself, I don't think is a bad idea. A lot of people really celebrate like the Microsoft rewards, and apparently people say they get a lot of games and they get a lot of content from that as a service. Nintendo at least doesn't pigeonhole you into buying specific games with the points. You can use it towards anything, and like the amount that you get back, I feel, is pretty decent. For this just feels like a weird way to celebrate, quote unquote, your community by like locking what you can spend the points on, by, again, not retroactively realizing that I own one of the games on this list already. So should I get the points? Should I not? Does it then force me to buy one of the other games? I don't know. This just seems like a really strange way to unveil a service on the leading console of this generation and last generation so far. Weird, dude. Very, very strange. But I'm curious to hear what you think once it eventually launches in the UK, because that is coming up in the next couple of weeks, I believe. And like, even still, so like in the chat, I want to highlight Kevin over here for a second. Some people are being put on a 2-month wait list to join the program. Some people, like Court, tried to join and was told he has to be at least 18, which I'm pretty sure he is. So like, even just trying to join the service doesn't seem to be working properly right now.
Okay, well, I mean, Court is got an amazing life ahead of him. I don't know how old he is, but I mean, if he's too young to get on PlayStation Stars, I mean, shout out you. You've got an amazing future ahead of you. Already got a brand under your name, but
I want to pull in Steve Vekvari. I'm gonna bring a question in. Steve Vekvari over on Twitter at @svekvari asks, "How does it feel to be podcasting with a minor? Court looks like a well put together adult, but can't access PlayStation Stars due to being under 18. Is Carpool Gaming abiding by the Fair Labor Standards Act?" Maybe. Again, just I love Steve's question each and every week. They always make me laugh. This is a fantastic question. Court looks fantastic for 18. Very proud of him. Like you said, Andy, he's got a bright future ahead of him. Laws, Carpool Gaming, we make our own laws. Let's move on to the next story and not spend too much more time making
think about it.
right. Coming from IGN, written by Kat Bailey. Exclusive Need for Speed Unbound has finally been revealed and it looks very different. A new Need for Speed will be arriving on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC this December, featuring the turn of Criterion as the lead developer for the first time in almost a decade. Return to the racing scene will use the Frostbite engine to deliver 4K 60 FPS in a free roaming open world called Lakeshore. There's a new physics engine as well, and we got a trailer, and it basically kind of looks like Need for Speed anime, but with ASAP Rocky and stuff. Andy, did you have a chance to watch the trailer?
I hadn't had the chance. No, I think I saw this in passing on socials. This is dope. I'm always been a fan of racing games. I think my personal favorite is Burnout, just because of the chaos.
Yes.
But Need for Speed, I could do a bit of Need for Speed. Could do it with a bit of speed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. What day in December is it coming out?
December 2nd is when it's coming out. So it's going to be coming up against the Callisto Protocol.
Different genres.
Different genres,
So,
yeah.
You know, rich parents can get both games for their kids, and no one has to miss out. It's great.
There you go. We all just need rich parents hanging around. I think this is the most excited I've been for a Need for Speed game in quite some time. This game leaked a few months ago. We saw images online, and I was a little bit like, I have to see it in motion. Seeing it, like, the art style almost looks like this, like, cel-shaded anime-esque style. Like, the pop-ups and, like, the graffiti-like textures that they use do look cool. I am very happy. Like, apparently there will be crossplay. And like the single player is like a single player story. Like they very much committed to that element. I grew up on Need for Speed Underground, and this reminds me of that in a great way. So I think this is the most stoked I've been in a Need for Speed in a really, really, really long time, and I'm actually excited to check it out. I think it looks awesome.
There were a lot of reallys in that sense.
Really, yeah, right. And like I love that this is next gen only. I love that this is. Or current gen, whatever you want to call it, that this is PS5 and Xbox Series X and X only. Finally.
It's a good question. When does next gen become current gen? It's been a couple of years now.
Right.
Well, next month it will be. So we are going to start seeing that transition, and the PS4, Xbox One generation of games should be phased out. I think Tekken 8, for example, is going to be on next gen, current gen only, whatever you want to call it. So I think they've started to make that transition now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now more people are going to have to get next gen consoles as opposed to just relying on smart delivery.
Yeah, and on top of the fact that, like, again, this game has been whispered about for a while, but to get a release and to get an unveiling, launching less than 2 months later, awesome. All about it. Love this time frame. Not going to see this game 7,000 more times before it comes out. Cannot wait. But to keep on this train of seeing games once again, coming from IGN, we have some leaky stuff to talk about. Horizon Zero Dawn PS5 remaster reportedly in the works alongside a multiplayer game. Adam Bankhurst writes, a remaster of 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn is reportedly in the works for PS5 alongside a brand new multiplayer game for PS5 and PC. As reported by VGC and MP1ST, The Last of Us Part 1 remake looks soon to be joined by an updated Aloy's first adventure on PS4. It isn't 100% clear if this is a full remake, like The Last of Us Part 1, or if it's just a remaster, but apparently we'll have added accessibility features, graphics modes, and quality of life improvements to the gameplay itself. So this actually leaked alongside another list that we'll talk about that in a sec. But Andy, does an idea of a remastered Horizon Zero Dawn on PS5 do anything for you?
Yes, but only because I didn't play Zero Dawn on PS4.
Okay.
Now, I do have it on PS4. I just haven't got the time to play it. It's on the list, a very long backlog of games I need to get through. But conceptually, no, I really don't like this. So with Last of Us Part 1, I was vehemently against this because it's not that old. People can get on the PS3 or the PS4 and enjoy that game. I would understand if it was 3 generations apart, but I think it's all too close. Zero Dawn only came out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
On the PS4, which are very accessible. But they're still selling those in secondhand shops if you can get one. But I I'm not a fan of these remakes. I think they're a bit lazy, and I have read that Sony is pushing this strategy with their big first-party games. So we might see a lot more of this.
For me, The Last of Us was one that I was skeptical about until I actually got my hands on it and fell back into that world. And I appreciate what they've done with that, especially because I would argue The Last of Us Part One is one of the best games of all time for a myriad of reasons. And I don't feel like that's an opinion that's like controversial. Horizon Zero Dawn is a good game. I don't think it's more than that, honestly. Like I know people have a lot of love for it. I think Aloy's a cool character. But this game is 5 years old. It still looks and runs wonderfully on PS5, even just playing the PS4 version of the game. Yeah. Like, if this comes as a free update to people who own Horizon Zero Dawn, here's your PS5 version. Here is your, here is the added accessibility stuff. Here's all the stuff to you who owns the game. Or here, pay $5 or $10 for the update, whatever. I'm worried that they're going to price this at like a $49.99 or even worse, a full price title, and then try and spin it around. I don't think that this game needs a full blown thing. Added accessibility is awesome to let people play who haven't been able to play the game before. Sure, I get it. I'm with you. But Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't necessarily think it needs that treatment. The idea of the multiplayer game makes me much more excited. I think that could be cool. Basically, giving us Monster Hunter, but Horizon would be sick. Like, would that sell you more on it?
Absolutely, yeah. I've never played a Monster Hunter game, but I know there are so many fans of that entire franchise. So I think a multiplayer aspect to Horizon Zero Dawn is a massive USP, a massive sales point. So yeah, that would sell me on it, but definitely not for RRP.
Yeah, and if they try and bundle this all together or try and sell it to us in that way, shape, or form, I could at least understand the use case a little more. For me, just bringing back Horizon again, meh. I don't think we need it. I just don't. But let's talk about the other possible leaks coming out of this. So this is what actually came up on Reset Era. There was this word of this document that was going on. Essentially, what we got is a spreadsheet that has a bunch of quote unquote titles. And there do seem to be reports that this actually may be legit. What we got on here is Horizon 2 and then Horizon 2 DLC and support for the PS5, which we knew. Horizon 2 coming to PC, not a surprise. We got Zero Dawn on PC. And then we got stuff like Horizon Online, which is the genre says games as a service. So this may be, I don't know if it's a co-op. I don't know if it's an MMO. I don't really know what they're doing with that. And then Horizon VR. And then the rest of these, some surprises here, some stuff that we've learned about since. Sackboy coming to PC, we just learned that that's actually happening. Destruction All-Stars is on here. I don't know why. Just let that game be. Returnal coming to PC is something that we haven't heard about yet, but again, shouldn't be a massive surprise. The Ronin game from Koei Tecmo, which we actually just saw at the State of Play a few weeks ago. We know that's real. I think some of the cool stuff here, though, is the rest of it is basically code names for stuff we don't know about. Heartbreak coming from Firesprite. Firesprite is that team that's made up of all the Call of Duty ex-devs. So that's probably going to be one of their, big titles. But the one I want to point out here is from Kojima Productions with the working title Ocean. Andy, are we getting Death Stranding 2, or is this a new title?
I reckon it's going to be Death Stranding 2. I think that's an easier sell behind the scenes, an easier pitch. You've got a working concept already, so a sequel doesn't require too much more selling. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a sequel. What do you think?
I do think it's going to be a sequel as well. I have like an interesting history with Death Stranding. Tried to get into it when it came to PS4, didn't click. When it came to PS5, I ended up ripping through the entire thing. Like something about it clicked with me. I think it was a time and place thing. Ended up really enjoying it. So the idea of a sequel, especially with like letting Kojima go wild as they let him go with Death Stranding, intrigues me. I'd be curious to see it. Did you play the original?
No, so quite hilariously, I've cancelled my pre-order 3 times because I wasn't sure whether I wanted Death Stranding or not, because it really looked good. But then when I thought about it, this isn't really a game that I want to play.
Fair.
And yeah, so they kept coming up with cool pre-order covers, so I kept pre-ordering it. But essentially, it felt like Delivery Man Simulator, which is
Yep.
why I didn't end up getting it at the end of the day. And I don't think I've made the wrong decision.
Fair.
So I don't think I'll get DS2 either. But I know that there's a lot of Kojima fans, and I want them to enjoy it. I want them to be happy.
Mhm.
So yeah, go ahead, make a Death Stranding too.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm curious to see more. So let me ask you this then: what could Death Stranding 2 do to get you to buy in? What do you want to see out of it that you, as somebody who again didn't really resonate with the original, what could it do to be like, you know what, maybe I am in? What do you want to see out of it?
That's a good question. I think I want a faster paced game. And by that, I guess I mean in the combat, more combat, first of all,
Hmm.
faster combat, but just the traversal as well. I want that to be a bit quicker,
Okay.
just because my free time is very limited nowadays. No one told me when you make content that all your time goes to making that content.
Yep.
So I would like to be able to just pick up a game, play it for 3 hours, and roughly know what I'm doing and where I'm at, and not have to, log these boxes 45,000 miles. It's not. I'm not saying that's a bad game. I'm just
Sure.
saying that's not for me.
Yeah.
I know what I want, and it's not that.
Fair.
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about it once we do see it. We do have some other games on this list that are just code names that would be impossible to try and figure out. But we'll keep you posted as we learn more. Let's hop over to our next story coming from IGN. PlayStation, written by George Yang. PlayStation's live service games could launch day and date on PC, but others will take a year. In an interview with YouTuber Julian Chiez, apologies if I messed up your name, PlayStation CEO Herman Hulse says, I think going forward, we'll see at least a year between our own platform, PlayStation, and on the PC platform, possibly with the exception of the live service games. Live service games are a little bit different in nature because you want to have a really strong community and really strong engagement right away when they go live. We might, in some cases of our live service offerings, go day and date with PC and the PlayStation platform. So I think this is interesting, Andy, because Court and I have spoken at length about, with PlayStation investing more in the PC ecosystem, with them bringing more games to PC and to Steam. What's the wait time going to be? I think we just pretty much got confirmation. First party, a year. Games as a service, possibly day and date. And we do know PlayStation is investing heavily in games as a service. What do you think about the story? Do you think a year is too long? Do you think it should be more? What do you think about the games as a service?
I think generally I agree with PlayStation's approach here. I quite like this. I think PlayStation have historically and notoriously been known to hoard all the good stuff for themselves. So you talk about your PlayStation exclusives, your God of Wars, your Horizon Zero Dawns, Ratchet and Clanks. They've kept those, and the selling point was you need to get a PlayStation console to be able to play these games. And now they've realized the shoe's kind of on the other foot here, where Xbox have really kind of pivoted and changed the way the industry works. And now you want as many people playing your games as possible. You get more money that way. You get more player base, right? So PlayStation have now realized that, and we've seen with God of War, with Spider-Man, and with several other games. I'm sure Horizon Zero Dawn has made the jump over to PC, and they've all been successful. And that's shown that fans want to play these first-party Sony games. And I like I like the 1 year gap. It might be more, it might be less, but I think a year is generally enough. You get enough people going, okay, I need to get a PlayStation console to play this game, or you get, oh, I can wait a year. It'll come onto PC. So either way, PlayStation win there. Sorry, Matt, go on.
No. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious because I feel like a year. I feel like it's a good amount of time. I personally wish it was less. I wish it was something like 6 months. Just again, get these games in the hands of people who want to play them. Because especially I'd be curious to see numbers for Deathloop, right? Because I think Deathloop is a great example of something like this, where we got it on PlayStation. A year later, it came to Game Pass, and there was rhetoric when it came out of oh, I'm just gonna wait to play it on Game Pass. I'm just gonna wait for this. I'm curious, because you mentioned, all of the PC games that PlayStation has brought forward have done really well. They've sold incredibly well. So I'm curious to kind of see going forward, and now that people know, that there will be a gap, but a lot of their games will be coming. Are we going to see sales increase, decrease? Are we going to see them change? How are we going to see things, kind of function? And my biggest question is I'm glad that they're at least entertaining the idea of their live service games coming day and date to PC, because again, they are right in the fact that like the player base is important, getting people in on the same thing. People joining a year after people have already invested in an online ecosystem would suck. That would not be fun. So I'm glad they're at least entertaining that, but I hope them seeing continued success in place on with PlayStation on PC drops that time of a year to something like a 6 months or whatever. Um, Especially with their PlayStation Plus PC app being jank. Like they need to fix that. But like, is there a PlayStation game that you would prefer to get on PC versus actually playing on PlayStation? Is like, are you excited about their games as a service potential? Like, where do you think that's going?
So with that, I again agree with PlayStation stance and your stance on that as well. Live games, you need to have them on as many platforms as possible on day one. You hit the ground running. It's amazing statistics that you can take for future games like that. And as you said, you want the player base to all have the same footing on day one. It's useless to have segregated releases on platforms. For me personally, I'm not a PC gamer. I'm traditionally a console. I was raised that way. It's easier that way for me. I don't have to think about switching parts in and out. And PC gaming is a puzzle that I am not intelligent enough to figure out. I'm not gonna bother with it. I like to keep it simple. Give me my box that is designed to play games. I'm happy. So personally, there's no PlayStation game that I'd rather have on PC, but I would be silly to ignore the PC player base. There is a massive gamer base there. They probably outpopulate any other console gamer base right now. So you want your games on there. You want to showcase how good the studios are working on those games. So I think it's intelligent to have those games released on PC. And I think actually you might be right. I think they'll realize in a number of years that it might be better to have PC games release having these PlayStation exclusives as well, maybe even on the same day. Deathloop as an example, they did their best with the marketing on Xbox and PlayStation Plus, but I don't think the hype was at the same level as it was on release a year ago.
Yep.
So I think you kind of just have this staggered release, and I don't know what the sales or the player numbers are going to be, but I don't think they'll rival what it was on day one, because you've had playthroughs, you've had people 100% the game, you've had that secondhand information. Oh, this game isn't that great actually. Now I don't want it. So I think they might maybe push it back or push it way forward to 6 months, 3 months, maybe even a week.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Again, it's just like letting people play these games where they want to play, especially with how hard it is still to get some of these current gen, next gen consoles, whatever you want to call them. But I'm glad that they're talking about it. And so I'm going to pull one more part of this interview because I found that this is interesting. Hulse also told GQ that PlayStation has about 25 titles in development and that roughly half of the projects in development are new IP. He said that PlayStation is not excluding bringing some of our beloved existing franchises into live games. So I'm glad to hear that they're talking about it, that again, because the story of them making a ton of games as a service, entries has been around for a little while. I'm glad that they're still confirming though, hey, the single player stuff isn't going anywhere. Hey, we're still investing heavily into new IP, which I think is fantastic. So let me ask you this, Andy. For a new IP on PlayStation, what is PlayStation missing in your opinion right now? What do you want some of this new IP to address?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay,
because like,
not prepared for that one.
No, because like for me, I think we need a shooter. I think we need something that can rival your Call of Duties, your Battlefields, your Halos. I think we need something because like PlayStation, I think does a fantastic job with a lot of your third-person action RPGs, your adventure type games, your Last of Us, your Uncharted, your Spider-Mans. I think they're nailing all of that. And like with the acquisition of Firesprite and so on and so forth, like I think they know, but I think that's what I want to see out of them is like a great shooter, like first-person shooter franchise that has a great online community, that has all these things going for it. Because I think, in my opinion, that's a huge thing that they're missing. And also, I just want them to invest in making their own JRPG. We haven't had like a PlayStation first party JRPG in Lord knows how long. And so for me, those are two things that I want to see out of these new IPs.
That's a very good point. I would say shooting is a genre that they need to find that piece to, because we all know that Microsoft has acquired Activision, and I know Sony are not happy about that news, and there are a ton of other companies that aren't happy, but I think eventually everyone's going to give in, and I think this deal is going to be finalized. They're still reviewing it, they're still auditing it, or all the boring stuff. But I think that deal is going to go ahead. I think Call of Duty is going to Microsoft, and whether it's a number of years, I think that game, that franchise is going to move exclusively to Xbox. So it is a good time now for PlayStation to find that rival. I think shooting is definitely the genre you want to go down. JRPGs, as you said, I think that's somewhere they could go down as well. I think they would want to go maybe find a rival to games like Pokemon and Mario. So your platformers and your JRPGs. I think they want something in that kind of vein. I don't know how easy that's going to be for them because with the first party games, they've got their bag, which is the action adventure game. They've got that in spades. I think they want to branch out a little bit more and not dilute that genre that they've specialized in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go shooters and JRPGs.
I think so. And I like that you bring up the platformers because I hope we're going to start to see that addressed with whatever Team Asobi is working on. Like with Astrobot being one of the best PS5 games as a pack-in is wonderful. So I think in that on that platforming space, I want to see them invest in that character and in that franchise as a whole and make something huge and awesome because that team can 100% do it. Let's close on one story before we get into questions because I think this would be remiss not to talk about one of the biggest stories that's going on right now. Overwatch 2 has come out, and I'm going to pull up specifically from an article here on IGN written by Logan Plant. Overwatch 2, Blizzard scrapping a phone number requirement for majority of players. After negative feedback, Blizzard is scrapping Overwatch 2's requirement for non-prepaid phone for most players. This change is going to come in effect Friday, October 7th. As everybody, if you've been paying attention at all, Overwatch 2 is out. Overwatch 1 is now officially an actual dead game, like legit. And now Overwatch 2, has had a really, really, really rough launch. Multiple DDoS attacks that have taken down servers, massive queue times, buggy releases. Like it seems to be like a massive, this whole locking of characters and this phone plan stuff. There's a lot going on here. So Andy, what I want to ask you, are you interested at all in Overwatch 2? Has all of this persuaded you in any direction? And again, what's going on with this game?
All good questions, Matt. So I'm not into shooting games in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm not interested in looking at this game at all. They're not for me. But I know the fan base that Overwatch has. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I would like to say it's clever that they killed Overwatch 1. It's the best way to get people on your new game.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think it's abysmal that people are waiting days to get in an actual game of Overwatch 2. I've seen the memes. I've seen people have deleted, re-downloaded, and are still waiting for their first game. I think that's shocking. A lot of my friends who have gotten games like Overwatch 2 have had to go into other servers. So I think that's quite bad. They've obviously not been prepared enough for the launch, and maybe they've underestimated their player base. But frankly, that's embarrassing, in my opinion. I think they could always put it back. It's one of those things that you get with free-to-play games. You're gonna get that leeway and something that other games didn't get upon launch because they weren't free-to-play. So I think Overwatch 2 can always put it back. From what I've seen from people who have actually been able to get into Overwatch 2 or 10 players, I think they've enjoyed the game. So I think they've got nothing but good news and goodwill to build up upon players who've actually been able to access the game. So,
yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, especially with an online free-to-play launch. Like you almost have to go in expecting I should leave this game alone for the first couple of weeks until things are stable. So I hope they figure it out because I know there's a lot of people who are very excited about it, and I'm curious to see the legs that this game has as they kind of nail things down. But my dude, let's open up the carpool. We have a question coming from Nakachaka over on Twitter, and Nakachaka asks, let's just assume that Horizon Zero Dawn is getting remastered, will be bundled with a multiplayer mode, and is coming to PS5. What price should it be, and how should Bloodborne fans feel about this? So we touched on the price. I think we both said that, this game should not be full price unless they're doing all of these other things to kind of wrap it around. But Andy, you are a big FromSoft guy. You are a big Dark Souls dude. What is going on with Bloodborne? Are we ever actually getting this? Are we getting the 60 frames per second patch? Is this coming to PlayStation 5 and PC? And what do you want out of Bloodborne coming back, if it ever does?
I don't think anyone knows about Bloodborne. I don't think PlayStation themselves know. I every time this is brought up, I get so annoyed because it's like you've got this great game. You got this great game. Make a sequel. You know how to make sequels about all of these other games that are average to good. Make a sequel for this game. I don't know if we're ever getting a Bloodborne 2. I don't know if we're getting. I don't want a remake, so I'm gonna maintain my stance from earlier. I don't want a Bloodborne remaster or remake. We've had the game on PS3, I think, or PS4.
Four,
Sorry,
yeah.
we had the game on PS5. We don't need it again. Make Bloodborne 2, or I'm good, to be honest.
So
With
you,
the price point, oh,
sorry,
sorry.
but so you wouldn't even want like a 60 frames per second patch? Because I think that's the biggest thing that people are asking for. Because again, playing on PS5, you're just playing the PS4 version. You wouldn't even want that out of it, or do you think to say like let the game lie, give me something new?
Yeah, with me, I don't. I want new stories. I want new gameplay. I want new enemies. I don't want to play a perfected game or a
Okay.
perfected version of something I've already played. I've
Mhm.
got that experience already. I've enjoyed that. I want to move on and play something else. My backlog is in the triple figures, guys. I'm not kidding. I do not have the time to play Bloodborne 1.1 again. You know, I don't have the time. But what about you when it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn's price point?
I don't know, dude. Like I think if they're going to, I think it really depends on what the strategy is with this. If they're just releasing a remaster, remake, whatever, I don't think this should be anywhere near full price. If their attitude is we're giving you the multiplayer game and then also we're tacking on a remastered version of Horizon Zero Dawn, then I can at least start to see the argument towards full price, which again still I think is a bit contentious. Um, I think a fair price point for just the remaster should be something around the $30 or $40 mark, if that's all that it is, if that's even what they're doing. Ideally, if it's all it is accessibility updates and other upgrades, make it a free upgrade or charge that $10 that you've been charging for the PS4 to PS5 upgrades. But
I
like
like
if
that.
I would be really surprised if they didn't take the games as a service approach for whatever the Horizon multiplayer game is going to be. To me, I think that's probably the direction they'll go down with it. They might make it, a free to play game that then again you're able to play and add on to and so on and so forth. So I think, especially with their mentality of games as a service right now, I think I would think that's the direction that they're going to go. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know if I'm even in on a Horizon multiplayer game because I'm a little back and forth on that series. So I'd have to see it first and then see. But I think for a remaster or whatever, I don't think it should be full price. I really hope it
I
won't be.
agree. Oh, really quickly, how expensive are games in Canada?
So in Canada right now, like a new game. So for example, your Returnals, your Ratchet and Clank, your Last of Us Part One, even is full price at 89.99 Canadian dollars.
Okay.
So
So,
almost $100 after, well, pretty much $100 after tax.
yeah.
So
Because really quickly, I
yeah,
only remember this one story of a remaster. It's Dragon Ball Z Budokai, and they announced a remake HD collection. And normally at that time, I think games were going for 50, 60 pounds. And the remake, the remaster on PS3, I think, came out for 30 pounds, and that was really cheap, and that's why I went for it. So I think they should try and adopt a similar kind of pricing strategy to that. So
yep.
if they went for maybe $40, as you said, I think that would really counteract a lot of the negativity.
I think so. I think they just need to get ahead of it and talk. Like they need to figure out what they want to do with it. And like, we'll talk about it more once we actually get some sort of official confirmation when this comes down the line. But yeah, I think Bloodborne fans. Sorry, I just don't know. I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's a rights thing. I don't know if it's some like PlayStation FromSoft thing. I don't really know what the intricacies around that situation are. But like, I do think it's a little baffling that we're seeing all these games come to PC. We're seeing all these upgrades come to all these games, and Bloodborne just seems to be kind of left in its little corner. But I hope you get it. I hope that day comes for people who do want it because I know a lot of people are shouting from the hilltops, and I hope they get that. But Andy, this brings us to the end of the show. But before we go, if people wanted to see and hear more from you, where could they do so?
All right. You can do that on many, many platforms. First of all, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Streamcast underscore. YouTube.com/Streamcast is the place you want to subscribe to if you want to watch our podcasts or Let's Plays, reviews, recaps, anything like that. We also have a podcast which you can listen to on any platform that you listen to your pods, that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Amazon, any of those other places like Deezer as well. And we're on Twitch as well. I always forget one of them. Twitch on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Streamcast TV from 9 p.m. BST. So check us out.
There you go. Make sure you go support Andy and the team at Streamcast. They make some of the best content here on this World Wide Web, so go support. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at burnout_Matt. You can find me each and every week at youtube.com/burnoutbrighter. And just again, a quick reminder, we will be live again in about 3 weeks' time. The next couple of weeks will be evergreen episodes that Court and I recorded as we both travel. But we'll see everybody in just a few weeks. Peace.
Yeah.
As always, we love to thank our Patreon supporters, and I want to start off with our ultimate producers, Robbie Bobby Miller, Tony Baker from Quest 4 Pixels. Please subscribe to youtube.com/Quest4Pixels today. Dallas Ford, co-host of The Blame Game. Support Dallas on YouTube to get these guys to 100 subs. Emily O'Kelly, Trucker Sloth, Jonathan Brown. The new episode from PME is called Gems and is available on Spotify and Apple Music. Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. And honestly, Carpool Gaming's tech support. Links are all in the show notes. Please support these ultimate producers. Platinum producers, Marcus McCracken, RJ Kern and Skinny Matt. Gold members, Anna W., Cicely Caruso, Dallas Robbins, Daresh, Foolish Fuji, Jose Jimenez, Marcus O'Neill, Nagachaka, and the Snack Network. Also, I want to thank our newest patrons, Sean Hannigan and Ryan Craig. Also, I want to thank Tim Paulin for upgrading to Gold member. Thank you very much.